everyone, and welcome back to Symphony Sounds, a program of the Billings Symphony. And today, once again, we're joined by our very own music director, Maestro Harrigan. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Mario. It's good to see you again.
It's always good to have you in town. So today, we're talking about 75 years of music in one night on October 25th at 7:30 p.m. at the Alberta Bear Theater. 75 years of music in one night. How are you going to pull that off?
Well, I've been working on it for a while, but I think it's going to be quite the ride. We are going to be going quickly through music starting from 1951. That was the year that the symphony was founded, and we might see some popular tunes, from the 50s, and on top of it, we're going to have a lot of visuals and kind of some clips, not really history, but reminders of what was happening. What was it like in the 50s? Who was really popular? What were the songs that people were listening to? What happened? And so we've got this completely immersive and fast-paced interactive concert that covers probably about 12 different pieces as we very quickly go through how the symphony has changed, how Billings has changed, what the clothes have looked like, the music. You can kind of see I've got my 70s vibe going on here. But we do see a lot of changes in the groove and the vibe of the music and the community over this time. And so it's kind of fun to sit back and see the whole thing, kind of like a time lapse, but the opposite direction, of what Billings was like, what the Billings Symphony was like 75 years ago, all the way through today.
So in the same theme of celebrating our 75th anniversary, we are now celebrating 75 years of music. And for our new audience members who have never been to the symphony, this concert is really quite the experience, just because it's not just the symphony performing. We are now celebrating all the decades, but it's multimedia, so there's going to be visuals to really tie in everything together in this celebration, in this anniversary year.
This is a concert I think that people will love, whether they've been longtime symphony goers or they've never been to a concert in their lives, because it's going to be so fast-paced. For those of you who have lived here for a long time, you're going to have a lot of memories. The Billings Symphony was there. The Billings Symphony split into two orchestras and came back together again. The Billings Symphony performed West Side Story just a couple years after it was written. We were there for that. And so it's amazing. I've been having a great time studying the history of the community and really digging deep into it and saying, wow, the Billings Symphony was there for all this stuff. 9/11, the Billings Symphony was there, the Kiev Orchestra, COVID, we were here. And so just sort of sitting back with a lot of very short pieces, so it almost goes without stopping. It reminds me a little bit of a Clockwork Orange when you're just staring and watching all these scenes happening so quickly, but it's the world happening in one time. But having that opportunity to stay together and say, wow, 75 years, a lot of cool changes, a lot of fun style changes in music, a lot of fun to bring the little kids because they will be like, oh, I didn't know that, Grandma,
Well, it's really interesting and fun to hear how you state, through all these different changes, how the Billings Symphony was there. And this organization has always prided itself on mission statement of enriching all lives through music. And so knowing that through all these changes, the Billings Symphony was a part of it, of this community, is quite remarkable. And so as we celebrate 75 years of music, not just classical music, so can you give us can you share maybe one or two of the pieces?
I might, but I might have to kill you. No, I can absolutely share. There were so many pieces, it's really hard to pick, that were the most popular songs in the history of the Billings Symphony. Mambo from West Side Story is definitely going to be a big part of things. One of the things I think that'll be fun for people is a version of Bohemian Rhapsody performed by our own principal violist, Samantha Inez. It should be quite brilliant. But we will also have Schindler's List, which is tied into the Not in Our Town thing that's very important to people when we talked about the history of Billings and a pride about that. and our concertmaster Randy Tracy is going to play that beautiful violin solo. We're going to have Jacob Logan, who is going to be representing the 90s, just singing You'll Be Back from Hamilton.
Wonderful.
Which, of course, is one of the most groundbreaking musicals, if not pieces of music, during that decade. We've also got some new music we think you're really going to like by living composers, and some pieces like Far and Away that relate to the history of Montana and filming in Montana. So, you know, I took a list this long, and then I sort of whittled it here and here, you know, because we only have, you know, basically an hour and 45 minutes, you know, to get this all done. It's a little bit less because we have an intermission, so it is 75 minutes worth of music, so you have 1 minute per year to get it all done. So it's, whew, what happened? But it's amazing how much music is written during our time, because many times symphony orchestras, we tend to play music from the 1890s, from the 1880s, maybe the turn of the century. But from 1951 until today, there's some incredibly exciting and meaningful, inspiring music. And so I think that people are going to walk out of there with their hair on fire. You know, like the old, it's the speakers ad, right? Where you're sitting there and you're like this, and you know, that's how you're going to feel. You're going to go, wow, that was great. So that's what we want anyways. That's our goal at all times. But in particular, this is going to be a perpetual motion concert, I would say. It's going to have a lot of movement, a lot of kinetic energy. It's never going to stop. We will have a break, so you can go get a glass of wine and say, hey, wow, what was that? That was great. Perfect for all ages. And perfect for all experience. People who have been longtime symphony goers, they're going to have a lot that's going to look familiar. And then for people who have never walked into a symphony hall or have a specific idea of what a symphony is, this will blow your mind.
That sounds wonderful. It sounds like it's going to be quite the experience, yes, and quite the ride, yes, and you can't miss it. So come as you are for all ages. We'd love to see you there October 25th at 7:30 p.m. at the Alberta Baird Theatre. 75 years of music in one night. For tickets, please call 406-256-6052 or visit our website at billingssymphony.org.